episode of Ironmonger's occasional and, well, I have been saying occasional and irreverent vlog, but I was given a new title, occasional and irrelevant vlog. Whatever the case may be, this is episode 4. This is going to be kind of like a general look around into the studio. The studio is pretty much been fleshed out to what it's eventually going to be. As you can see right now, it's pretty packed. I am packed with more than enough miniatures and books and all the little accoutrements of gaming, as it were. We've been doing a lot of fantasy. We've been to Lock and Load. We've been back from Lock and Load. We picked up a lot of the new Colossals. We picked up the Gargantuan. That was kind of, pre-release. A number of members of the group picked it up. We picked up some of the other miniatures that were at Lock and Load. We had a lot of fun at Lock and Load. We have a lot of fun with War Machine and Hordes and Privateer Press in general. I am officially PG Ironmonger now. That being said, people have really been starting to expand out in the group in a big way into other games and other game systems, most notably Warhammer Fantasy Battle and Warhammer 40,000. Warhammer 40,000 just has had a new edition, 6th edition. It's a very, very good looking edition. Warhammer Fantasy Battle 8th edition has been out for, I think it's about a year now, something along those lines. It has turned out to be quite a good edition as well. And both those systems have been gaining popularity in the group. We've been talking about resuscitating, or I should actually say performing a redux of a Blood in the Badlands Warhammer Fantasy Battle campaign that we had started, or making a much more narrative driven version of that. But we've also been really deep into Infinity. We've been talking about running Infinity campaigns, and Malifaux. Malifaux has made a big resurgence in the group to the point where we have more terrain now, we have more Terraclicks, we have more members in the group. Shout out to some of our new members, Nick, Tony. You can always check the forums, you can check our blog, which will be at the end of the video as well. We've had new members, and they are not just, this may have precipitated the shift in gaming. They're not just Privateer Press gamers. They're not just War Machine and Hordes gamers. They enjoy a variety of gaming. And so I would say that the hobby, the fact that there are multiple game systems, not just in our group but in existence, has really kind of shown through in the last few months. So we'll go do a real quick to a close cam. We'll check out what's going on in the studio right now, and then I'll come back to close it out. So this is the close cam, or as close as we can get to a close cam right now, showing some of the things that I'm working on in the studio. I have a number of these resin pieces from both Forge World, these resin fantasy scenery pieces from both Forge World and Tabletop World. I cannot praise Tabletop World enough. This is the unfortunately out of production Ruined Factory, as you can see, or Abandoned Factory. As you can see, it's a fantastic, fantastic terrain piece, perfect for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Mordheim, even things like Malifaux, War Machine, Horde, basically all tabletop systems. It's so nondescript. If you've ever been to Kernow, if you've ever been to Cornwall, or anywhere in the West Country, I'm sure that you've seen tin mines that don't look that dissimilar from this. But yeah, it's no longer being produced. Hopefully they'll reproduce it. Fantastic piece of terrain. So I'm working on a lot of terrain. I even, real quick over here is one of my Forge World. It's just a Warhammer cottage that I've reclaimed from Andy's garage / the Man Den, where it's been used, and I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. A lot of my Forge World and Tabletop World pieces I really, really like. They don't stand up to wargaming all that well, unfortunately. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to overcome that. So coming back over to the table here, you can see I do have dwarves I've been trying to work on my dwarves a bit. I'm actually converting an entire unit of hammers here. It's basically just taking great weapons, putting the hammer heads on the great weapons, and then putting masks on the dwarven warriors. I do have this entire vampire count army. I have an entire vampire count army. It recently took a tumble. It took a tumble onto the floor. It was actually right there that it took a tumble, but I picked it up, and I am trying to kind of put it back together because fantasy, as I was saying in the introduction, bit of an upswing. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see some of the casualties of the tumble. Fantasy's had a bit of an upswing, and so I'm trying to, a lot of zombies there, I'm trying to get all of my fantasy armies in fighting shape. There are some skellies, some zombies that still need to be repaired, some ghouls. I need to repaint some ghouls, eBay ghouls. And speaking of tabletop world and of fantasy terrain, or just terrain in general, specifically games like Mordheim, there are a number of the Forge World tabletop world pieces. This is tabletop world, a component of their ruined coaching inn. It is a huge, it's just a massive, uber cool 3-story ruined piece. This is just one of the stories of it. Here is an Empire Canon readout, as well as the well. These are both from where they used to be available from Forge World. They are out of production, as is most Forge World resin terrain at this point. The well has seen better days. I'm trying to figure out the best way. It keeps chipping, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to mitigate the chipping on the edges there as much as possible. And down here you can see a lot of the paint is flaking out. I don't know what to do. Hopefully I'll be able to figure it out, because I love the piece so much. It looks so good. It's so effective. Oh, there's some more paint just fell away. It's so effective on the tabletop. Oh, piled in front of them are squats. There are a number of my squats still in progress. I'm hoping to convert the squat codex that I did into 6th edition shape pretty soon so I could use them. And then this is just a jumble of rates, and then we got my Malifaux Constructs of Order with Hoffman. Hoffman is probably the closest to being done painted. And then you can see some of the work that I've been doing on the studio. Ancient Clytor, of course. Battlefleet Gothic, Warhammer Quest, Dust, just good stuff in general. Yeah, studio is getting a bit on the crowded side. Here's an entire Malifaux crew Von Schill. I've started painting up Von Schill. I converted him a little bit so he didn't look so static. Dead Justice. Starting to paint up Dead Justice, and then my Bayou Gremlins I really want to finish painting because I've got such awesome bases. Secret weapon bases. Very awesome bases. So they'll look very Bayou-y. And then I started magnetizing the bases using magnetic business cards you can get at Office Max or basically any office store. So that my fantasy miniatures are far easier to move. These are just a jumble of painted miniatures, things like that, books, blah blah blah. And here's 2 of my I love the model so much I wish I could have an entire army, Imperial Guard units. Here of course are my Vostroyan Firstborn, and then here's the Death Corps of Krieg, just the command squads of each, because I don't have the time, money to be able to get any more than that. Siege Animatrix in the background there being worked on. It's in pretty good shape actually. There's Ashlyn, of course, if you're at Lock and Load, or I'm sure that even if you weren't, you've seen the resculpt of her. It's a gorgeous resculpt. And then I've got, eagerly anticipating the release of the Galleon, another secret weapon base that I'm trying to, the Galleon Colossal for mercenaries. I'm trying to make as kind of characterful, and I'm trying to get it done before the galleon's released so I can just kind of plop it down and you get to see some of the rest effects I've been doing. And this will end up having plenty of weathering powders and wet effects on it before I'm done. Oh god, and then here's just everything I'm working on. I was lucky enough to get both this paint rack and then a double-sized version of the paint rack. Makes organizing and using paints just so much easier. A bunch of the other stuff I'm doing, there's the land ship, there's Meowgar in the background there, Battlefleet Gothic, Terrorgeist, more BFG, Tau BFG, Adeptus Mechanicus BFG, and then I've got some Epic Tyranid, just a whole smorgasbord of things that I'm working on. I'm down, and then some of the things I've been working on painting for a while that hopefully will get finished up before too awfully long. Things that are totally unassembled, and then some of the Empire I'm starting to work on. Not starting to work on, I should say. I'm finishing up working on it. Nightly Orders, Standard Bearers, a lot of the new plastic kits are they're just so lovely. A lot of the wizards are really great. And then I've got Steam Tank, Celestial Fulcrum, or Hurricanum, Tiberian upgrade kit. So as you can see, lots of stuff I'm working on. Lots of stuff I'm kind of finishing up, but I still have just a huge horrible mess of things to complete. So that showed a number of the projects that I've been working on, a number of the kind of trials and tribulations that I've been going through with the modeling side of the hobby, dropping things and trying to really balance the time and energy and money I have between a number of different game systems, and trying to actually paint them, like you can see from my Empire forces. And my Malifaux, the C. Hoffman Constructs of Order, I'm trying to get things actually painted on the table. When I come back, hopefully, episode 5 of this vlog won't be 2 months from now, and I'll actually be able to show a number of the terrain pieces I've been working on, because I've really been wanting to get back in terrain. I haven't really touched terrain in months and months, but hopefully just a few weeks I'll be able to get back with episode 5, and it'll all be about completing some pieces of fantasy terrain. So I'll see you then.